Hi everyone, and welcome back to Around the Craft Table with Serenity Lane Designs. Today we're going to be making DIY scratch-off lunchbox jokes. For this project, you're going to need the free printable that can be found on my website, some regular dish soap, some acrylic paint, any color that you'd like, some packing tape, a silicone mat, a paintbrush, and some scissors. Optionally, you could also use clear sticky labels, some freezer paper instead of the silicone mat, and you could probably use a little bit of like a fine glitter if you'd like. So let's get started. First thing that we're going to do is take some of the packaging tape and you're going to lay it out on your silicone mat or the freezer paper. This is because we want to protect whatever you're going to put the scratch off on. In this case, it'll be cardstock or paper. So if you were to paint directly on that, it would get wet and wouldn't work well. So you're going to cover it with a plastic bearing. Next, we're going to mix 2 parts of the paint with 1 part of the dish soap. And you're just going to mix it all up. And you're going to paint the section of tape that you just laid out with 1 coat of the paint. And then you're going to let it dry. I didn't have a lot of patience, so I took my heat gun and I dried it using the heat gun. Make sure that it's really good and dry. Then you're going to paint it again. You can do 2 coats, you could do 3 if the color still looks a little see-through, but you want to make sure that you dry it or let it dry in between each layer of paint. After my second layer of paint, after I dried it with the heat gun, I did let it sit for about 10 or 15 minutes just to make sure that it was good and dry. And then I just cut out the printables that I found that you can find on my website. There'll be a link in the bio. These are just some fun, cute little jokes that I thought would be fun for back to school. You could put the scratch off over the answer, and your kids could have a nice little note from mom. Then you're going to carefully cut little pieces. It looks a little flimsy in the video, and the more that I played with it, I realized it was probably mostly because it wasn't really wet, dry. If you let it sit maybe overnight, it actually handles a little bit better. But again, I didn't have a lot of patience. So you're just going to cut off a little bit of a strip so that it will cover the answer to the riddle. Also, if it dries longer, you might notice little spots where the paint stuff flakes off. The longer it dries, the less flakiness you get. And then, simple as that, you can take a coin and scratch off the answer. A very cute, simple project. Thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And I can't wait to see you back here again around the craft table.